Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Thanks for coming back for our last session on the final tier of the important parts of wrestling, which is the soul. And with the soul, I'm not referring to, like, say, the Judeo-Christian idea of a soul. I look at it more as, I've said before, I call it the X factor. It's a thing inside that drives us forward when all else fails. Our mind is broken, our bodies are broken, but there's something that we can still bring us to carry on and finish. And those are going to be different for everyone, and I'll cover those in a second. I guess you've all had that at least once in your wrestling career or in your life in general, where you come to a crossroads where your body is given up, and like I said, you can't finish that shot. Your mind's been broken, all your moves aren't working, you know, but you still end up enduring the pain and going forward. And that's kind of what I kind of encompass that in the idea of the soul, like what is driving us forward. To kind of break down what that is and what the soul is, I kind of steal a little bit from Thomas Hobbes, who was a 17th century philosopher. And he says in his treatise, the Leviathan, which is he's talking about the state of man, he says, as far as the first state of man, the first maketh men to invade for gain, the second for safety, the third for reputation. And those three parts are what I kind of focus on when I describe the soul. For some people, what drives us forward is going to be competition. Whether it's going to be the need to win or the need to succeed when all else has failed around you, kind of drives us forward. I see a lot of wrestlers, that's the number one reason why, is we want to compete, not just beat our opponent, but to beat ourselves, to get better every day. And that's really important that you have that in anything in life, that you're willing to move forward. And there's a saying, actually from the TV show Kung Fu from the 70s, those are old enough to remember, that he who defeats himself will become the ultimate warrior. And I kind of put that as the competitive part of it. This next one would be diffidence, or I would put it as safety. There are people that compete solely as a way to keep others at bay, things at bay. The eating doubt in your head, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but didn't. But we have something inside us that wants to silence that voice. And that could be an internal one, and that could be someone around you, people wanting you to succeed, and you don't want to fail them. So you do everything in your power to get better at what you do as a person, and to overcome all obstacles. The third one is glory, which is pretty simple. Another huge one, what drives us to do things. We want accolades. We want people to notice us. We want the shiny hardware. That's why you go to the tournaments every weekend. We want to be remembered, and that's all part of glory. And I feel that that is an important drive for people, but I don't think it's the most important one. I think if you focus too much on the physical, you're going to miss out on everything that wrestling has to offer. If you're just focusing on winning and losing, and getting medals. I think you're kind of missing the point. So, but it's definitely a huge part. You want to get first place. Sometimes you're in an overtime match, you get first, you'll find that little extra to get you to move forward. So you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, like, what really drives you as a person and as a wrestler? Are you doing it just to compete with yourself? Are you doing it for glory, to bring honor to your family's name? Are you doing it because you have to? And there's no wrong answer to what makes you be good at what you do. Just know the answer and thrive on that and use that. For anyone that knows me and has been around the gym, one of my favorite stories is that I always tell people the one time I almost quit wrestling was I transferred to Eastern Michigan University to wrestle Division I, and it was preseason workouts, and we had these workouts where I had to hold a 45-pound weight and do a sit-up and hold it above my head and go back down again, keep doing that over and over again. And which doesn't sound so bad, but we did it for 2 hours straight. And my body had been broken. I had people yelling in my ears, telling me to quit, just walk out here, you're not worth it. Keep, give up, give up, give up. So my mind had been broken, and I just saw the door, and I was so ready to walk out the door. I was so ready to quit on myself. And something inside me said, no, you've come too far. See to the end of this. And I did. I made it to the end. And I did my last sit-up, and I looked down below, and I noticed there's a pool of blood underneath me. And I felt my lower back, and I realized that I had a hole in my back. I had done so many sit-ups that I had created a blister on my back. The blister had formed, and it had popped, and I was sitting in my own blood. And I didn't notice it until I was done. So it's something to keep in mind that, if you have enough drive, you can push out all the other external elements. And you can do a lot of amazing things that you wouldn't think you could do, or anyone else around you for that matter. So anyway, that's the soul. That's the last part of mind, body, soul. And if you can master all three of those, you'll be a better person than you were yesterday. So that kind of concludes the introduction to philosophy of wrestling. The next sections we're going to go into is we're going to cover extensively the work of Sun Tzu, the author of Art of War, and kind of interlink between his ancient philosophy of how to wage war with wrestling. And hopefully you'll be able to learn something from that. So again, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to email me. All right? See you around.